Well, as we gear up for another presidential election, of course, we're hearing opinions and the attempts at influencing from both sides. That's what campaigning is about. That's what an election process looks like. For example, we have now people reporting that Obama is in panic mode and he wants the Biden presidential team to bolster what it's doing. Otherwise, Donald Trump's going to get back in. I promise you, Barack Obama is not panicking. This is a purposeful leak, and they're letting us know that Biden is going to be replaced on the ticket. That is simply what this is all about. And so it's just ticking that way. And remember, you heard it here. We now have the lying legacy, corporate, corrupt mainstream media, the powers that be, the ruling class elite, the oligarch, if you will, the deep state, the swamp, whatever term you choose to give it. They like Nikki Haley. They think that as a female, she is, quote, easy on the eyes. She lies ad nauseum. Her town hall with faux pas news, formerly known as Fox News, was just one lie after another lie after another lie after another lie. She's all upset that Ron DeSantis is attacking her in a TV ad, saying that she sees Hillary Rodham Clinton as an inspiration. She, of course, in the town hall said, I never said Hillary Rodham Clinton was an inspiration. But of course, you go to a book that she just released a couple of years ago, a fake New York Times bestseller, and not once, but multiple times, she refers to Hillary Rodham Clinton as the inspiration that led her to get into politics. She finds her to be an inspiring woman. Despite the fact she may not agree with her on everything, she is an inspiration to women. So Nikki Haley is a liar, military-industrial complex. She'll keep the status quo rolling forward, and they like that. So we're hearing all of this and seeing all of this positive news about Nikki Haley. She's going to beat Trump in New Hampshire. I have yet to find one person, and I know this isn't scientific, but I've yet to find one person that's voting for Nikki Haley, that even likes Nikki Haley. So, we have this going on of our influencing. We get it. And I know some of you are concerned. What about what happened in 2020? What's to prevent that from happening again? After all, we know that the election of 2020 was safe and effective. The most perfectly run election cycle ever in the history of elections in any third world country, anywhere. It was perfect. Okay. That all said, there is now overwhelming scientific data showing us that yes, there is purposeful manipulation going on subliminally. And we were actually warned about this literally over 60 years ago by President Dwight D. Eisenhower. Everybody talks about how he warned us about the military-industrial complex. We forgot that he also warned us about the scientific community.
Akin to and largely responsible for the sweeping changes in our industrial military posture has been the technological revolution during recent decades. In this revolution, research has become central. It also becomes more formalized, complex, and costly. A steadily increasing share is conducted for, by, or at the direction of the federal government. Today, the solitary inventor, tinkering in his shop, has been overshadowed by task forces of scientists in laboratories and testing fields. In the same fashion, the free university, historically the fountainhead of free ideas and scientific discovery, has experienced a revolution in the conduct of research. Partly because of the huge costs involved, a government contract becomes virtually a substitute for intellectual curiosity. For every old blackboard, there are now hundreds of new electronic computers. The prospect of domination of the nation's scholars by federal employment, project allocations, and the power of money is ever present and is gravely to be regarded. Yet in holding scientific research and discovery in respect, as we should, we must also be alert to the equal and opposite danger that public policy could itself become the captive of a scientific, technological elite.
So when scientists trade natural curiosity over a government contract and they become part of a narrative and conformity, being directed to what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, quote unquote, for the betterment of the people, because after all, we know what's best, according to the government. Big Brother. Big Brother using science to manipulate and control? Oh, that's never happened, has it? Some of us haven't forgotten what happened in 2020, have we? Oh, this is going to be a deep dive. Join us.
Let's get ready to rumble! You can't handle the truth. I'm surviving on the top of the line.
Hi, I'm Pastor Marty, and this is the Afternoon Drive. Absolutely, positively nothing like me anywhere else online. Hey, that's not bragging. That's an undeniable statement of fact. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Once you are, smack the bell, click the word all to get notification of my rants, my ravings, and my undeniably and always flawless reasonings. Hey, then please like and share this video. That's how we get the word out we're here. Welcome to the Afternoon Drive. So when science speaks in one uniform narrative, telling you this is established and this is what we need to do, it goes against science. Because science is constantly questioning, is this the best way? Is this the right way? Could we try this? Should we look at this? And all of that stopped in 2020. Now, again, I'm not going to get too far into this because for some reason, some people here on YouTube can talk in great detail about this and they seemingly have no issues. I even hint at anything regarding Rovid, and I get in all kinds of trouble. So I'm just alluding to the fact that this idea of questioning, and now let's take science out of the medical realm and let's bring it into the technological realm. When government, and we know they have been in bed as the Federal Communications Commission with telephone and radio and television, and now, of course, the internet. Big tech now doing the bidding of the government. This is how they get to explode. How do you think entities like Google and Facebook got as big as they did? Remember now, I mean, Facebook, come on. Everybody agrees that Jeff Zucker is the biggest geek nerd ever. I mean, a bigger geek nerd than Bill Gates. Well, how did they get that way? Well, certain alphabet communities within the intelligence community of our nation saw an opportunity in things like Google, Facebook, to be able to influence, to be able to control, and also to be able to surveil. And these companies willingly got in bed. It gives them a great deal of power to be able to influence and manipulate. So when they try to tell you, oh, everything that happened in 2020, it was perfectly fine. Was it? You instinctively know it wasn't. Now, again, I'm not going to get into all of the claims of former President Donald Trump, soon to be our president again. We're not going to get into certain brands of voting machines. Not going to get into any of that, but let's talk about what did big tech do and what would it like to do again. Dr. Robert Epstein is a behavioral psychologist, and he has made it a science, if you will, to investigate, to look at how online media, the way they can manipulate algorithms and search results through tools like Google, can actually influence what you and I do. And then he took the logical step, say, if they can influence what we buy, what we'll eat, what we'll drink, what we'll wear, how do they influence who we vote for, how we vote? And he talked about the fact that Google, and of course all the big tech companies have this ability, but Google has this incredible database. And they've got it on each one of us, and they know how to manipulate it. Isn't it something you will be online, and you'll be looking at an ad for something, and then you close out of that website and you jump on Facebook to post an update of what's going on in your life, and all of a sudden, the very thing you were just looking at on another site had nothing to do with Facebook pops up in your Facebook feed. They watch what we do, they manipulate it to where they stick it in front of us then every single time. I have a friend who's a missionary in China, and he was telling me that it's so pervasive there that he was literally in a department store and saw this beautiful necktie. He said, this was just a gorgeous tie, and he said he knew he had a suit and a sport jacket that it would look perfect with, and he was already, as he's looking at it, thinking of the places he would wear it, and he picked it up and flipped it over to see how much it cost, and it was just, he said it was a beautiful tie, but he just wasn't going to spend that kind of money on it. It was approximately $100 American. He said, I'm not going to spend $100 on a necktie. He put the tie down, and he started to walk out of that department when his phone beeped. He looked down, and on the phone was a 50% off digital coupon for the tie he was just looking at. Bump, ba-dum, bump. Now, if they can influence through technology what we'll buy, what we'll do, where we'll go on vacation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Advertising. We know how advertising works. But now they can literally, through any time you do a Google search for something, they take you to the results they want to feed you. And Dr. Robert Epstein appeared before Congress to say, this is a problem. But the way we can break this up is take that Google database and allow the public to have access to it. Bump, ba-dum, bump. I'm going to play this clip of Dr. Robert Epstein appearing before Congress. And I want you to think about what he's saying.
I am indeed Dr. Robert Epstein. The most important thing for you to know about me is that I'm the father of 5 wonderful children. As it happens, I'm also a research psychologist at the American Institute for Behavioral Research and Technology. I have been center-left my whole adult life, but I value my country and democracy more than I value any party or candidate. That is why I'm speaking out today. I'm here to explain why Google poses a serious threat to democracy, how monitoring systems can protect us from companies like Google, and how Congress can immediately end Google's worldwide monopoly on search. My plan for ending that monopoly was published just yesterday in Business Week. I respectfully request that my article be entered into the congressional record. It's attached to my full testimony.
It will be entered without objection.
I've been a research psychologist for nearly 40 years. My PhD is from Harvard and Since 1981, I've published extensively on AI and other topics. Some of my research has focused on Google, on the company's massive surveillance operations, censorship capabilities, and unprecedented ability to manipulate the thinking of 2.5 billion people, soon to be 4+ billion. I've written articles about Google for Time Magazine, USA Today, that kind of thing, but also for the Daily Caller and even Russia's Sputnik News. I reach out to diverse audiences because I believe the threats posed by Google, and to a lesser extent Facebook, are so serious that everyone needs to know about them. Here are just 3 disturbing findings from my research which adheres to the very highest standards of scientific integrity. Number 1, in 2016, Google's search algorithm likely impacted undecided voters in a way that shifted at least 2.6 million votes to Hillary Clinton, whom I supported. I know this because I preserved more than 13,000 election-related searches prior to Election Day, and Google's search results were significantly biased in favor of Secretary Clinton. I know the number of votes that shifted because I've conducted dozens of controlled experiments that measure how opinions shift when search results are biased. I call this shift SEAM, the search engine manipulation effect, which I first published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences in 2015. Biased search results can easily produce shifts in the opinions and voting preferences of undecided voters by up to 80% in some demographic groups because people blindly trust high-ranking search results over lower ones. SEAM is an especially dangerous form of influence because it is, in effect, subliminal. It also leaves no paper trail for authorities to trace. It's an example of a short-lived or, quote, ephemeral experience. That's a phrase you'll find in internal emails that have leaked recently from Google. I'm now studying 7 such manipulations like SEAM, and unlike billboards or those Russian-placed ads, these manipulations are invisible and non-competitive. They're controlled entirely by big tech companies, and there is no way to counteract them. Number 2, on Election Day in 2018, the Go Vote reminder that Google displayed on its homepage gave one political party at least 800,000 more votes than it gave the other party. That reminder was not a public service, it was a vote manipulation. Number 3, in the weeks leading up to the 2018 election, bias in Google's search results may have shifted upwards of 78.2 million votes spread across many races to the candidates of one political party. This number is based on bias in data captured by my 2018 monitoring system, which preserved more than 47,000 election-related searches conducted by a diverse group of American voters. I know how to stop big tech in its tracks, and that brings me briefly here to monitoring systems and the proposal I published yesterday. A 2015 phone call from the Attorney General of Mississippi prompted me to start a years-long project in which I have learned how to capture online ephemeral experiences. In early 2016, I deployed a system that allowed my team to look over people's shoulders as they conducted online searches with their permission. I deployed a more sophisticated system in 2018, and I'm raising funds now to build a much more comprehensive system in 2020, one that will allow us to catch big tech in the act, to instantly spot when Facebook is biasing news feeds or when Twitter is suppressing tweets sent by Ann Coulter or Elizabeth Warren. This system must be built to keep an eye on big tech in 2020. If these companies all support the same candidate, they will have the power to shift 15 million votes to that candidate. To let big tech get away with subliminal manipulation on this scale would be to make the free and fair election meaningless. Finally, regarding yesterday's article, Congress can quickly end Google's worldwide monopoly on search by declaring Google's massive search index the database the company uses to generate search results to be a public commons, accessible by all, just as a 1956 consent decree forced AT&T to share all its patents. There is precedent in both law and Google's business practices to justify taking this step, which will make online search competitive again and dramatically diminish Google's power worldwide. In 1961, Eisenhower warned about the possible rise of a technological elite that would control public policy without people's awareness. That elite now exists, and you must determine where we go from here. Chairman Cruz, Ranking Member Hirono, Mrs. Blackburn, other members of the committee, democracy as originally conceived cannot survive big tech as currently empowered. I look forward to your questions.
So, who do you think big tech is pulling for now? Well, I can tell you, there seems to be this push now to manipulate things to make it look like Nikki Haley is surging. Is she? Because again, I haven't talked to a single person. And I don't just talk to people in my echo chamber. I talk to all kinds of people. I've met no one. I haven't seen any sign anywhere. I haven't seen anything on social media of the masses clamoring for Nikki Haley. But they're getting ready to program that result. It's going to get very interesting.